Hello and welcome to Soiree AAMLO, an engagement with the arts. We want to thank you for joining us along with your friends and neighbors for a delightful engagement of poetry, jazz music, and visual art. The Bay Area is home to some incredibly gifted artists. We're using this recorded format so that we may share as widely as possible the programming efforts of the African American Museum and Library at Oakland. The presence of COVID-19 and its impact on all our lives necessitate that we adapt a virtual programming format. Please be safe and stay engaged with AAMLO. When you leave home, don't forget to wash your hands frequently, practice social distancing, and always remember, wear your mask. Now, we want you to get comfortable, sit back, and in the convenience of your home, enjoy the spoken word rhythms of Nicia De'Lovely. Then listen to the melodious, mood-setting sounds of a remarkable jazz trio comprised of Jelani Newsome-Noble, Gerald Williams, and Brandon Farmer. Finally, we will view paintings by visual artist and educator, the late Oding Muata, as his brother, Drew Smith, and friend Vince Owens share insights on the man and the artist. Thank you for joining us.
Peace and love. My name is Nicia De'Lovely, and I am an Oakland, California native, poetess, creative, and artivist in the fight against child molestation, sex trafficking, domestic violence, and all things unjust for my people. Today, I'm very honored to have the privilege to participate in the Soiree AAMLO Evening of Art and Jazz. I want to give thanks to those who have favored enough in me and my work to invite me to participate in this year's special event. And I want to make sure that everyone who is tuning in knows that my pieces that I'm going to present to you are from a place of love, and this is to incite unity, healing, and just community, and from my heart to yours. The first piece that I'm going to share to you, all four pieces are original. This piece is entitled The Mask. Today, already in 2020, masks are mandatory. Access to everything is limited and dependent on a mask. Don't leave home without it. You hear me? It's effective in the effort to reduce the virus, to contain the contagion. See, the contagion kills at will, so I want none of it. I wear many masks out of caution and common sense. They say readiness is the best defense. So for years, I've been out here protecting myself against the viruses of racism, sexism, terrorism, hate, classism, ageism, sadism, rape, fascism, chauvinism, exploitation, xenophobia, inhumanity, indecency, injustice, homophobia, imperialism, colonialism, genocide, historical, political, and experimental medical lies, oppression, depression, and aggression too. And today, here in 2020, I also wear a mask for the flu. My next poem is entitled Sparrows, and this poem I dedicate to all the essential workers, to everyone out there risking their lives to make sure that we have a better life. I thank you. I see you. We love you. God bless the restless bird. For sometimes even the messenger needs a word and a safe space for crying. Tired but striving, she spreads her wings and keeps flying. See, there's reward in living a life of purpose. Reimbursements are not, the journey is worth it. So she cleanses her wounds and proceeds with caution, determined to bring change no matter how often, constantly pursuing a deeper frequency on a mission to heal the frequent vacancies in her soul. Her evolution boosts her wisdom and self-control. Recklessness makes her restive, so she isn't complacent. The light reveals paradise, so she knows it's adjacent. Won't let nobody, nor badge, nor bullet deter her. Scary routes and bouts have only matured her. And for he the same. Pursuing a call to relinquish pain for himself and the community in which he breathes, fertilizing his earth and watering his seeds, soaring with heavy burdens when weather is grim, often lost, but still God is guiding them. Unwilling to stop even when seasons give reason, on fatigued knees praying until they start bleeding. With grit to persist, they'll sweat but continue, refusing to be the bird served on the menu. So they fly, and they fly, and they fly, and they fly. So they fly, and they fly, and they fly, and they fly. So they fly, and they fly, and they fly, and they fly. So they fly, and they fly, and they fly, and they fly. So they fly, and they fly, and they fly, and they fly. Through uncertain times, joys and pains, torrential hurts, rains, tired and sore. Nonetheless, they soar, 'cause they fly. They so fly, they so fly, they so fly. Thank you. This next piece is entitled Black Girl. I say this in honor and in memory of Breonna Taylor. May we say her name, remember her name, carry her name. Breonna Taylor, this is for you. Her wings were clipped at birth, reduced in attempt to restrain her reach and worth. As she beautifully develops within her mother's cocoon, she is anxiously anticipated, scrutinized, trivialized, and already objectified. Deliberately discredited for her innate brilliance, yet unanimously coveted for her instinctive resilience, sensationalized for the holiness between her thighs, her sensitivities and pain. See, their aim is to keep this baby cracked like cocaine. But she's a butterfly, fluttering in a world unreceptive of her flight, consistently exceeding underwhelmed expectations and heights. Grounded by the inherited oppression of her skin, yet gifted and uplifted by God's essence within, she's sacred, essential, a constant flowing stream, capable of achieving all things and executing all dreams. As resistant as she is delicate, her determination is feared. To misogynists, she's a threat. But to her people, she's revered. Chauvinists gamble on her loss, although she's destined to win. They try to criminalize her rise and demoralize her skin. The desired coal of her soul produces jewels of fire. Her mind is a sacred diamond. Her heart is a rare sapphire. She's only made more precious by the pressures of this world. As strong and beautiful as granite, she is the black girl. Breonna Taylor, say her name. Say her name. Say her name. May justice be served and served soon. My last piece is entitled Trees. And this piece I have created to encourage us all as we continue to go about this life. May we stand tall, knowing who we are. We are strong, we are resilient, we are beautiful, we are trees. I speak of the roots, I speak of the seeds, I speak of the fruits, I speak of the leaves. I speak of the twigs, the branches, reaching and breaking, praying and dancing. I speak of the bark, dark, brown, textured, and thick. I speak of the trunk's strength. I speak of the soul, the spirals, the countless coils deep within the core, the inner rings of the centering, representing the longevity of our constantly growing family, symbolizing the infinity of our connectivity. I speak of our power, our growth, our reach, our resiliency. I speak life. In this war-torn jungle of deforestation and gentrification, I speak life. Oxygenization, I speak life abundantly. Transformation and reincarnation, I speak life. Still standing, sprouting tall and thriving life, red, black, green, and breathing life. I speak life to and over every one of us, pods of God, glorious, bountiful, wind whipped, chopped down, bear stripped, burned, or grinded. I speak life so that no matter what, we shall always be reminded that we are trees. We are trees. Think about it. We are trees. On every continent, across every sea, we grow, we thrive, we seed, we standing tall and firm. We Oakland. We oak trees. We mighty, mighty redwoods. We are connected, not the strange fruits. We are the roots. We are trees. So stand up, stand tall, stand firm. Trees reach in heaven, can't you hear them pray? Listen to the wind and you'll hear them say, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Peace and love. Blessings to you all.
Today we have a special event for you. We are introducing you to a very well-known artist right from Oakland, the late Oding Muata. And to share things about him and his childhood and his artwork, we have two very special guests. We have his brother, Drew Smith, and his very best friend for many, many years, like a brother as well, Mr. Vincent Owens. And could you put your hands together and give a nice virtual welcome to my two guests? Come right in. Have a seat. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming this afternoon. It is a special occasion. Like I said, the first virtual programming here at AAMLO. We are actually going to be opening an exhibition on Oding Muata later on during the month. However, we want to start off learning a little bit more about the life of Odin. And with that in mind, I want to start with his brother. So, Drew, if you could just tell us a little bit background of your brother, not about his art, but Odin, the man.
Well, to start, Odin, we were 6 years apart. Odin had a kidney disease at a very young age, and he wasn't expected to make it. My parents were told to possibly put him in an institution, but they weren't going to do that, so they provided for him at home. He spent quite a few years in the hospital off and on, and I was told, I don't remember because we're 6 years apart, but I was told that he wasn't allowed to do physical activities. He wasn't even allowed for his feet to touch the ground, so they had to carry him from place to place, from room to room. Being in the hospital and not being able to have physical activities for many years, I think that's where he developed his art, love for art, because he was given lots of coloring books and sketch pads to play with, in sense, because he wasn't able to go outside. And later on in life, he got better in art. And at the beginning, most of his art included portraits, and we believe that was because being in the hospital, all he saw for the most part were doctors and nurses' faces coming and going. But my whole life, I remember him drawing or painting. I don't remember being, that distance in age. I don't remember his sickness at all. There's a lot of photographs of us, of him holding me as a child, and my parents would tell me, see, Odin was always in pajamas. Well, Odin was always in pajamas. His name wasn't Odin at the time, so that's why.
We understand.
Yeah, but he was always in pajamas, but I didn't take that for him being sick. I never remember Odin being sick. He taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me how to play basketball. So he was always very physical in my eye. He played, he played basketball. He ran track. So it wasn't. I don't really have a remembrance of him being ill.
Being ill, yes. And so, Vince, can I call you Vince? I know it's Vincent. I think everybody generally calls you O. So I'm gonna can I call you O?
You call me O. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, tell us about what was it like being so close to Odin?
It was an experience to this day I will always cherish, because me and Odin was able to talk about things that I wouldn't share with not even my parents, with my close friends. And he was just like a mentor to me. And even though we were not far in age, but he went to Castlemont High before I did. And he's class of 73, I'm class of 77. So I got a chance to learn more about the high school and learn a little about him and what he was involved in his childhood and in his adulthood, as we got a chance to be friends over the years. So Odin was special to me, very special.
That's something. And how long, when did you meet him? How long were you friends?
I met him, it's funny, I met him through a friend who I tell that story about Odin's mother. My friend was actually in Odin's mother's classroom at Highland Elementary back in the day. And he brought him over to the house, and he was a big football fan. He loved the Oakland Raiders. And we just got to get into football and just politics and things that deal with just everyday life. And we hit it off. And we ended up being friends for over close to 30 years.
30 years, that's what I was thinking,
Yes.
close to 30 years.
We went from-
Well, what do you think? And this is a question for both of you. What do you think that really inspired Odin to create this type of artwork?
Well, what I feel is that just everyday life, things that he saw, not only the different jobs he had, but just the people he met. He met so many different people, and he was able to not only connect with the people, but he was able to connect to what they liked and what he liked. And I think that he would go and take time and just sit in his house and think about what he was going to do that day, and it became a routine for him that he was able to transfer the thoughts and what he saw on television and what he, by meeting people, got an opportunity to express that in his artwork. And as I got a chance to see some of these paintings, I kind of, it reflected in the conversations that we had. And I think that's what he really enjoyed showing us, for sure.
Drew, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say, just to add on to that, a lot of it had to do with the time that he was born. You know, being born in '55, there was a lot going on, and he was able to see the progressions through the 60s and the 70s, and then up and through the 80s and 90s of the different changes that were going on in the country, not only in the Bay Area, but throughout the country, that really inspired him. And, you know, people like, you know, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, had great influences on his life.
So I know that we have a jazz collection that we're actually going to exhibit. So was he a lover of jazz, or this is just something that he picked up, like maybe through a friend or something?
My father was a big lover of jazz. Odin was a lover of all music, and actually he did take piano lessons for 13 years. He played trumpet for years, and he also sang in the high school choir, the Castaliers, who traveled worldwide. His love for jazz, I think, strong jazz lover became later in life, probably as an adult. And my father, I think a lot of that influence came from my father. My father had a huge jazz collection, old 78s.
Yes, yes, yeah, my dad too as well. In the collection, we're going to be showing actually some greats that Odin actually painted. In the center, you'll see that's actually Charlie Parker on the saxophone, the image that you're seeing in the background, and of course, the late, great Kobe Bryant. And the collage there with, I'm sure, artists that you recognize and actors as well. With his painting, was there any material or special tool that he used more than something else? Did he have something special as far as his materials?
Well, I can say this. Let me just go listen to this. The one special thing that Odin had was coffee.
Coffee.
Odin was a stickler on having coffee before any painting was being painted or being referred to. He had to have his coffee. And that stuck out to me because I didn't grow up in a household with people drinking coffee. And Odin always had his coffee before he did his paintings. So that stuck with me all the time. I was asking him before. He actually put us out when he get ready to start painting. he would ask you to.
That was my next
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So was he a loner when he painted?
Yes, he was definitely alone, no
Yes.
doubt. When it came to paintings, he wanted to make sure he had full attention, not only to listening to his jazz. He used to play jazz while he was doing his paintings. So, one thing that stuck out was coffee. He always had his coffee before. Everything else kind of routine, but the coffee really stuck out.
Stick out, yeah. Also, if my memory serves me correctly, wasn't it popsicle sticks or something that he had?
Well,
Did he use or?
Later on in his painting career, he got into Q-tips.
Q-tips, yes.
Q-tips. I thought that was such an amazing thing about him with the Q-tips, because he could tell you what picture took, how many Q-tips it took to do that picture. He did a painting, I think, one was 1,500 Q-tips, and one was 600 Q-tips, another was 700. So he kept a record of how many Q-tips per painting.
Did he actually use the Q-tips on the paint, the artwork?
Yes. He has. I have a few at the house of the ones that he did some of the paintings on. I kept a couple up when we actually went into the house one day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Drew,
Yes. I would say he went through different mediums. Growing up with him, at first I remember him drawing with like the number 2 pencil and the big fat red pencil we get from school. He did get into charcoal and watercolor and pen and ink for a while. In his high school days, I would say he was more into oil painting. But that really frustrated him sometimes because it took too long to dry. And Odin just wanted to paint. He didn't want to wait for it to dry. So later on, he got into more acrylics and color pencil. And I think that's where he pretty much ended up. I just know Odin liked to, one thing he did, he worked on many different paintings at once. So he might be working on 10 paintings at the same time because he loved to paint and draw for hours in a day, even if it required, he didn't even sleep half the time. But sometimes he would just get tired. He would be working on the Kobe, for example, and he would just get tired of working on a basketball picture. So he'd break out a Marshawn Lynch or a Raider picture and work on it, and then he'd pop over to like a jazz piece. But he would paint like the whole day, just like, oh, I'm getting tired of working on this. I'll draw some bananas, or I'll draw paint on some animals or something of this nature. So he was always working on something.
that's amazing. Do you think that Odin's artwork represented something within him?
Almost definitely. He was big into Black history and current events, so he always kept on what was going on, kept up on what was going on, and tried to portray that in his art.
Vince?
Sure. Like I said, he was a great sports fan of all the sports teams here.
Did he have a favorite team?
Oh yes, the Oakland Raiders will always be
Oh yeah,
his
Raiders.
number one team. The reason I wore black today, Drew asked me why I didn't have all my caps and my colors on. Well, I wore black today because Odin was a stickler on wearing black. And his spirit must hit me today. And I told myself I'm going to put on black today. So he was a big Oakland Raider fan. I mean, from the beginning, when the Raiders first got to Oakland, to leaving Oakland, coming back to Oakland, and going again. So it's a legacy that I'll never forget because he loved them no matter where they went. And for him not being here, knowing that they have a home now, it makes me sad because I know he would love to have the Raiders here in Oakland with a brand new home.
With a brand new home, yeah. The exhibition that AAMLO will be presenting to you at the end of the month is called Oding Muata, the man, the artist. In his collection, we will spotlight his jazz collection, his sports collection, and his beautiful Blue Lady series. We will spotlight that as well. And also Black cinema. So as I went through the collection, there were a lot of actors and actresses that I was familiar with. However, there were some I was not. We have done some research on most of the artwork, and to give you a little more information on some of the individuals. So once you have the virtual tour of the exhibition, and if you have Q&A, we'll have time for that. I have a question, one last question I'd like to present to the two gentlemen here. When you look at Oding's art, what does his art mean to you? True?
Well, I don't mind being first on this. His art means that he truly cared about people, things. Odin was really a Renaissance man in so many ways. When people use the word Renaissance in a way that you really, like you say, I appreciate the question, a great question. His work to reflect on how he view life. He cherished people, he cherished events, he cherished not only his family, but his friends, and he loved Oakland. I mean, period. I call him the hidden gem. He was a guy that very shy, and he didn't really kind of put himself out there, but when he got an opportunity to shine, he let people know that they were special. And I get that from not only from his brother Drew, but from his whole family. And Odin was, to me, some people might know him as Stephen Smith, but he was one of a kind. I had an opportunity to be a part of a lot of events that he was a part of, and at this time, this interview and even this session makes me feel sad that this is what I always wanted to see him sit and be a part of. Oakland need to know who this man was, and his art definitely reflects who he was, for sure. Thank you for you asking that question. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. Drew, I know it gets a little emotional, but I feel that people really want to know what his work meant to two individuals that meant so much to him.
Yeah, I would just like to say that Odin put his heart and soul into his art. And he spent his life in art. Lots of times he wouldn't sleep. Lots of times, most of the time he wouldn't answer his phone. Once he came home from work, he picked up the brush and that was it. He was painting until he fell asleep, and as soon as he woke up, he started painting again. So he put his life into his art, and he loved the community, and he loved his people.
Thank you, thank you. Well, that sort of concludes our interview. I want to just say that it has been an emotional experience for me, even though I didn't know Odin, and pretty much Drew and Vince. I feel that I've been knowing you forever, but actually I haven't. And I've learned so much from the two of you a little bit more about Odin. And we are honored at the African American Museum and Library to exhibit an artist who loved Oakland and Oakland loved him. And to be at this institution and have his collection here, I'll never forget what your mother said to me when you brought her here for the first time. She said, Vita, this is beautiful. Odin would love to be here. And perhaps he did come here. You're going to have this artwork here? She said, thank you. I feel his spirit here. I thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to us meeting again. We have the opening coming up. So once again, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is AAMLO, 659 14th Street. Over and out.
you.